Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar on robotic process automation, the latest buzzword in the industry. I'm Saibal and I'll be one of the presenters in today's session. I represent the digital transformation team of Godrej Infotech Limited, a solution provider in the space of digital transformation globally. I have 25 years of diverse experience in IT, and in last 4 or 5 years, I have been practicing robotic process automation besides Industry 4.0 and Industrial IoT. The duration of today's webinar is 1 hour, but we have allocated 10 minutes for question and answers. Throughout the session, all the attendees will be muted, but if any one of you has any query, you can post it in the question and answer box. We'll try to answer them in the last 10 minutes of the session. In case any of the queries can be answered to any one of you, please write to us at infotech@godrej.com. So today we are hosting this webinar in association with Automation Anywhere, a leader and one of the best platforms when it comes to intelligent and cognitive process automation. Today, Automation Anywhere will be represented by Abhishek Parab, who is the principal architect of Automation Anywhere and brings with him wealth of experience and knowledge in the areas like robotic process automation, digital workforce, cloud and security architecture. He has been working on mid-range to large projects in these areas, and he is going to be the main presenter today on behalf of Automation Anywhere and in this particular session. Now I'll walk you through today's agenda. The agenda of the session is like this. To start with, I'll introduce the competence and the centers of excellence of Godrej Infotech Limited. Thereafter, Abhishek will present and demonstrate some important and interesting RPA use cases. During his presentation, Abhishek will touch upon the benefits of RPA. He will also explain how RPA can impact the KPIs and the critical success factors of your business to make it competitive in the face of fierce competition, and eventually will make it sustainable, building up competitive advantage for your business. He will also talk about how robotic process automation, how ROI will be realized after successful implementation and hypercare post go live in every RPA project. After Abhishek, I'll take over and I'll present a few use cases built around domains like manufacturing, supply chain, and service. And I've also mentioned that at the end of the session, there will be Q&A after that.
Saibal sir, just a moment. Somebody's saying it's not audible.
Okay.
Saibal sir, you can continue.
Okay, am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yes, clear.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
to me, yes.
Okay. So now I'll talk about who we are and what we specialize in. Godrej Infotech Limited is a part of 4.1 billion USD diversified conglomerate Godrej Group, having a legacy of 124 years of business in different domains. Over last 1 century, the group has actually ventured into various industry verticals like aerospace, appliance, process equipment, and materials handling equipment manufacturing. We are also into precision engineering, tooling, furniture, locks, securities, and storage solution business as well. Total headcount of the group is 28,000 as on date. We are an end-to-end IT service provider. We have strategic alliance with various OEMs like Microsoft, Automation Anywhere, Oracle, ALS Retail, Infor, and Salesforce. We have our footprints and operations across different time zones, including Middle East, APAC, Europe, and North America. The industry verticals that we cater to and specialize in encompasses manufacturing, retail, trading, and distribution, as well as projects. Though this particular list is not exhaustive, there are a lot of other industry verticals and sub-verticals that we actually cater to. These are our service and solution offerings with differentiated value propositions. Sorry, yeah. So I have already mentioned that we have got our footprints and presence and our operations across different time zones. So these are some of the locations where we have got our presence directly or indirectly. Now I'll be touching upon our areas of competence and the COEs. So this is our service and solution offerings with differentiated value propositions. So here you can see that we have competence in digital transformation. So our digital transformation portfolio includes competence in the areas of IoT, AI and ML, robotic process automation, or intelligent and cognitive process automation, e-commerce, and data science. When it comes to data science, we have got expertise and specialization in data ingestion, data distillation, data mining and data engineering, and data modeling by using AI and ML, and data visualization as well. So other COEs or centers of excellence includes mobility, ITSM, remote infrastructure management, and cloud. And last but not the least, we also have got good competence in the areas of CRM, and we also have got bespoke application development team with us. When it comes to our ERP practice, we implement Infor, Microsoft Dynamics 365, F&O, Navision, and Oracle as well. So this is our actually RPA heat map. Now here you have we have got some examples of RPA that have been implemented or can be implemented across different industry verticals and different functional areas. In fact, RPA is an all-pervasive discipline that cuts across all domains and functional areas of business. So it is domain agnostic. It can be implemented in any functional area provided the process or the workflow is repetitive, rule-based, manual, and the process is actually dealing with structured and semi-structured data to a certain extent. And some of these use cases have been implemented by our parent organization, Godrej and Boyce, for discrete and process manufacturing. Here you can see a list of some of the use cases that have been implemented in manufacturing domain, such as automation of item code creation, automation of bill of material creation, automation of production order to invoicing, and plethora of other use cases. We also have got experience in implementation of RPA in functional areas like procure to pay, order to cash, finance and accounts, supply chain, and virtually in any area of business that is repetitive and rule-based and manual. There are numerous other examples of applications of robotic process automation to automate vendor and customer onboarding, vendor and customer metadata management, supplier invoice process automation, sales order and invoice process automation, and the likes. These days, COVID has actually caused a paradigm shift in the industry. In COVID and post-COVID era, when most of us are actually working remotely, and it has become a new normal, a lot of large organizations operating from geographically dispersed locations have actually started implementing RPA to automate ITSM and remote IT infrastructure management. So here we have got some examples of automation of ITSM and remote infrastructure management, like incident management tickets, password reset, automation of Cisco router configuration automation, automation of VM creation, and automation of network outage ticketing system automation. So by using automation anywhere, a lot of such ITSM use cases can be automated. In fact, there are some very good examples of automation of incident management ticket generation and resolution of these tickets for L1 and L2, L3 tickets, in fact. So now I'll be inviting Abhishek to share his insights, making presentation and demonstrating the use case and to share his knowledge. Over to Abhishek.
Thanks a lot, Saibal. Let me start sharing my screen. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Abhishek Parab. I work as a principal architect in Automation Anywhere. Although I represent the region as India, Middle East, Africa, I work with the different partners, customers across the globe and help them in a different technology conversation, or specifically the industry conversation that I expertise into. With that, let me just start about what exactly I plan to cover in my presentation now. First, we'll talk about why RPA first, right? Why robotic process automation, and what really calls for RPA as a technology. We'll look at few examples in the manufacturing supply chain. I have kept few demos on live demos on how things are really working on ground. I'm going to have a combination of a technology plus a business angle so that both things can be demonstrated together. We'll look at one use case in logistics. We'll look at few areas in the cross function, and finally we talk about who we are and how we have really evolved in last 16, 17 years in the industry. So let me start with a simple problem statement. Why RPA first? Now, what we have seen across many customers, there are a lot of application that we onboard over the period of time. And as we are going into the digital transformation, a lot of application getting onboarded day by day basis. So a lot of application. There are applications which are coming from in-house development. They are coming as a SaaS service. They are coming from the different vendors and so on. So application landscape is growing, and that's expected in any growing transforming organization. But what typically happens, the way at which the application grows, the complexity also grows with that. Now, when you look at the actual automation, we see 20% of them is already only automated. That's the only piece which is getting automated. But what is left out is a gap between what is automated versus what need to be automated, which is almost 80% of the total gap which is left out. Now, what we typically do is we bring employees to fill that gap, like studying data across this application, pulling data from different systems, and so on. Right? So that's where we leverage human labor to do that activity. Address that problem, we bring the digital labor, which is you can call it as RPA or digital worker or digital employee, to really augment that capacity. And that's what the benefit of using RPA. So basically, we augment your human capacity with the digital labor so that both can work in a combination and try different business problem. Right? That's the idea behind why we leverage this. Now, if you break this application landscape between the front office, back office, and what the employee use, you will see a lot of application which are going into that bucket, right? The front office has, let's say, Zendesk, Pega, Salesforce. Back office are ERP systems, and employee have their own productivity system. Now, there are automation which are feasible within the application, and there are few connectors which are also available. So there is an application, there is an automation which can happen between front office. Some automation can happen with the back office. That's where we bring Automation Anywhere as a platform, which allow you to integrate not just a front office within the front office, but also combine everything together into one single office like bring front office, back office, all employed together to work like a single one office concept. That's a concept on which we are working now to really drive the transformation. Now, if you heard Saibal said that the RPA itself is industry agnostic, it can actually go work across any industry, doesn't matter. Now, these are the benefits that we have seen coming from different industries across their digital worker adoption. Now, you as an enterprise need to define what's the area that you are interested in, whether you're looking at operational efficiency, whether you're looking at revenue growth, cost saving, customer experience, and so on. So you need to decide initially when you adopt, like what is a metric that you want to drive as an overall transformation project, and then based on that you can design your overall roadmap for the automation, right? But these are the benefits that we have seen across industry. That's what every customer is gathering. I will show few logos at the end, like how we have really grown and what's the step that customers are taking. But that's the benefit that really we want to get out of it. Now, we as Automation Anywhere, we deliver different capabilities from our platform. When you typically look at your process, any automation that you, any process that you bring for automation, it has to go through a discovery cycle. There are certain data sets which we need to digitize. So for example, you are working with a scanned document, you're working with some semi-structured data sets. Example of the most relevant example for you guys would be, let's say, purchase order. You're looking at some receipts, some invoices. These are digital document, scanned digital documents. You basically digitize them, you convert them into a system readable format. Then you automate using the RPA, and then you finally optimize and see how the insights are looking like, right? So basically you are going from discover phase to digitize phase to automate and finally optimize phase, right? We offer different capability into these areas, and that's where we bring our platform, which is one single platform, which is working like enterprise automation 360 platform under single umbrella from Automation Anywhere. Now we provide this product or a platform as a cloud service, or it can be also consumed as an on-prem service. We brought in one more layer and I will show you that during the demonstration, what exactly the every other component benefits during the course of discussion. But one layer that we brought in is to make RPA platform available to different personas. Whether a business user trying to automate something, or whether it's an IT or a technical user trying to automate something, we brought in interfaces for different personas altogether. We have different integrations available, and finally there's a bot store which is like a readily available bots which are also available. That's the ecosystem. And finally, we have actually we are agnostic to the industry, and that's the reason we have grown into not just insurance, financial, but into manufacturing, life sciences, healthcare, public sector, and most of the industry that you need. Okay, so that's just a baseline on what is really happening, right? Now, let's look at and deep dive into a few use cases which I wanted to demonstrate during this discussion. So let's start with a few areas into manufacturing and supply chain. Right. If you look at this slide, this talks about different functions within, I would say, as a manufacturing company, we'll say different functions which are happening as part of the manufacturing organization. There is order to cash, P2P, plan to build, hire to retire, and so on. But if you look at the cross function, the crossbar, right? There are many processes, like for example, a supply chain. Supply chain goes over multiple such pillars. It has O2C, it has P2P, it has plan to build, and also market to retire. So it goes across different. We have seen benefits coming into each of these areas. Whether you're working on demand planning, like pulling data from the sales system, pushing into the production planning system, order management, your inventory management, supplier management, vendor onboarding, invoicing. These are all the areas which we see as a low-hanging fruit in most of the manufacturing and supply chain industry. If you look at the hire to retire part, even the requisition management, the onboarding of the customers, onboarding of your internal talent, everything can be brought under the automation. So this is just the high level view of what is possible, what can be really onboarded into the automation, and what success we have seen. These are the areas where we have seen the success. So really, these are the solutions implemented by many of our customers. Let's look at few examples. So like I said, a combination of a technology and a use case, we'll see it together. First, I'm bringing a vendor onboarding use case, and I'm bringing the capability of our cognitive solution, which is an intelligent automation solution. IQ bot is a cognitive bot. It has a capability to extract, scan document, PDF. Think about your invoices. Think about your vendor onboarding forms or your purchase order, your receipts. Those will all fall under the IQ bot. But let's look at the vendor onboarding example. Now, let me play this video, and I'm just going to talk through what exactly use case we're trying to solve here. So we are looking at new vendor creation, and the target system is SAP. The target system can be anything. It can be SAP, Infor, or any other Oracle ERP system. So the typical process, if you look at the manual way, we receive the request or the form, which is to onboard a vendor. You download, read request form and submit into the ERP. There may be some other business validation that you might be performing. We can also bring those. Now, if I drill down that process slightly and put it into the RPA framework, I will have an email receive request, RPA IQ bot doing, and finally posting into the ERP. So let's look at the process. So I receive a request to vendor onboarding. We read the email, we download the request form with all the relevant documents which are required. Once we download the document, we submit them to a cognitive bot so that the cognitive bot does the whole extraction. Now, in the process, if we see any exception handling, we can actually bring human in the loop and take the exception as well. Finally, we log into SAP, do a validation, and we submit a vendor into the SAP system. Right? That's a typical flow that will happen in this. And finally, we send a confirmation that yes, you have been onboarded. Now, what you see on the screen is our IQBot learning instance. Basically, we train the document, train the engine based on the document. So we are just training the document based on the form, which is an input form. And if you see, it's a simple, I would say, low code platform where you can just train the complete platform at the UI level. You just drag, you just select the options, and that's how you typically train, right? Whether it's a text field, date field, and so on, multiple fields can be trained. And once you train this IQBot engine for input forms, you can build a bot now. So now we are building a RPA bot. The RPA bot is a set of instructions which have been designed in a step-by-step manner, and this is what the workflow that we have shown earlier. Now let's look at the bot in action now. So there is an input form which is received from a vendor for the new vendor onboarding request. Now what we are going to do, we are going to run the bot. So once we run the bot, it will actually read the email directly without human intervention. It will read the email. It will download the attachment from the email. You see that attachment is downloaded. And once downloaded, it will upload into our cognitive engine. The cognitive engine will extract the information and it will create a CSV file, an Excel file, a CSV file out of it. And that CSV file is now going to get utilized for creating the SAP entry. Now we are logging into the SAP. You see the bot window is running at the bottom corner. It is now going into the SAP, reading the data from the CSV file and pasting all the information back into the SAP system for vendor creation. So mapping exactly the way it has been extracted from the tool. And finally, it submits the vendor detail. Now, if you really want to bring a human intervention into the overall process, we can always do that. If you need a kind of a maker checker concept, if you want to bring some kind of validation in the overall process, we can very well do that in the end-to-end process. Right? So that's the very quick flow on how typically we look at a vendor onboarding process. What we are using is a cognitive technology plus RPA working together to deliver that vendor onboarding request. I will add few things here. In vendor onboarding, we have even seen sometimes customers want to validate their GST information. They want to look at their some records on a government portal and so on. Even those can be brought into the overall end-to-end vendor onboarding cycle. But that's just one quick example of what is possible. Let's look at a second example. Now, a different deployment strategy, SFDC and RE. So RE is, like I said, it's kind of an interface that we have built for human to interact with the overall bot framework, right? The overall RPA technology. So here we are looking at SFDC, which is Salesforce interface, CRM interface, where you are actually receiving all your orders, and from there you're allocating a stock. A simple process. The order has been received. You want to allocate a stock to the a specific order that you've received from your inventory, and then we do some interactions there whenever there's an exception to be handled. So let's look at this demo. Now in this demo, we are using our interface, which is Automation Anywhere Robotic Interface. So SFDC has already received or basically bot has already created orders inside SFDC. And if I open this order, I can see the order detail, the products, the standard CRM functionality. Now, OK, let me just pause the sound. OK. Now let's say I want to allocate at start. What we provide inside SFDC is a connector, SFDC RE connector. Now in this SFDC, we can actually go to automation tab and we can run the bot here. Now once you run the bot, what it will do is it will talk to your backend warehouse system. It will look at the available stock and it will automatically allocate that stock to this order. And once the bot automatically does allocation, it will be pushed into the activated state. So basically the order is completed. Now there's a happy path that the stock is allocated by the RPA in the background and things are fine. But what if there is a I would say out of stock item? There is no item available in specific stock. Let's look at that flow as well. Now here, the bot has actually ran in the background. It has checked in the warehouse system and see there is a one item which is out of stock. Now this order has been is kept on hold now unless and until we get a confirmation to work on this out of stock item, we won't be able to proceed further. Right now, what we trigger as a in response to this is a request for somebody from the customer service representative to talk to the customer that this order is out of stock. So what has happened when this is identified that the order is out of stock, it has automatically allocated a task in the background to a customer service representative. Now, the customer service representative then takes the request that he's yes, say I have a request which is open, and he opens the request into his portal and he sees there is a shortage of item which has been allocated here, right? For the during the allocation. Now what Lee can do, Lee can actually look at who is the customer, what's the action needed, and actually he can now go and reach out to the customer and get a confirmation that what you want to really do this with this order, right? So now what you are seeing is an Automation Anywhere interface. Basically, the customer representative is talking to their customer with a single portal. They don't log into SFDC at all. They don't log into any application. They are staying within the same one single framework. And from there on, they talk to the customer. They automatically fetch all the information from the backend system, and they finally decide on the phone whether to cancel the order or whether to cancel a specific item and so on. So basically, it makes this interface makes it very simple for them to really talk to a backend RPA framework or different business application in the background. So all these activities, such activities can be done using the RE. So what you saw in this example is a SFDC connector, which is basically used to trigger a process within the SFDC, within the Salesforce environment, and then that initiating a separate process flow or workflow for even for the customer service agents to talk to their customers, right? So that's how the complete process flow has been created here. And then this activity goes on and on. If customer says I need some more information, yeah, it is updated into the backend system automatically. If you see it's already updated here. The item has been removed and it has already put into the activated state. So basically the order processing is stock allocation is completed. Now this is a different UI altogether where he can go and create new requests and forms and so on. So basically RE is a interface that allows any user, whether it's a back office user or a front office or any persona or a sales executive, to go and trigger any bot on the fly. I want to run a bot. I come to this interface. I insert all the information and let bot run. That's the way to really interact, the newer way to interact with the bot framework. That's how I will quote as a outcome. Let's look at one more area, which is specifically into the production monitoring, because we are discussing manufacturing. Let's talk about the production monitoring. This is one example that we have tried with integration with one of the sensors that we were trying to use. Now, what we are doing in this example is we are we are using a IoT platform, a third-party IoT platform, which is monitoring certain activity on the manufacturing. So basically, we are monitoring a pressure sensor. So IoT device is monitoring the real-time sensor data. Now, whenever a sensors identify a specific condition or a specific exception, it will automatically trigger Automation Anywhere platform. That Automation Anywhere platform then follows a business rule that, let's say a sensor has failed, please allocate a request immediately to the on-site engineer, and it creates a request inside the ServiceNow, which is here. It alerts the contact person on who is supposed to remedy or manage that fault, and finally also send out the email. So we'll see quickly in this action how exactly we are monitoring this. The idea is okay, let me take you through this quickly. Now this is a bot UI, and this is our bot, which is we have developed as part of the Automation Anywhere. Now this is a pressure sensor. This is the system. This is which is monitoring the overall sensors which are deployed in the manufacturing. Now, as part of the sensors, there is a pressure which is getting monitored. Now, inside their configuration interface, which is inside this Node-RED interface, this is a workflow that they have created as part of their monitoring. Now, what we are adding here is a trigger that whenever a specific situation is triggered, is identified, please go and trigger the Automation Anywhere platform. And we define the trigger. We say wait for a reset to happen, and once the reset happens, it will actually trigger the Automation Anywhere bot, and that Automation Anywhere bot is going to perform all the activity which are post trigger need to be performed by the bot. So let's see, now we are deploying this, and we will start monitoring this activity now. Basically, we are not the one who are monitoring, but their own system monitoring the activity. Now, whenever they recognize that, okay, something failed on the sensor side, it will automatically trigger the bot here. You see the bot will start running now. And that bot is now actually reading which sensor it is, who is a contact person. So Fred is a contact person for that. He will look for the information for the Fred, go to the ServiceNow, log a ticket inside a ServiceNow that this sensor has failed, we need an immediate intervention. And ServiceNow ticket will be created. It will go and add the priority, severity. It will go and capture the screenshot, and finally it will send out a text and email to the concerned person. So again, this is more of the how we are doing the integration. So SMS is sent, he sees that the SMS received as part of this overall end-to-end flow. And finally, now he can log into the ServiceNow and act on it, right? The idea behind this, the IoT automation, is basically Automation Anywhere platform can be very well triggered from external sources. It can be, like I said, it can be your front-end application. It can be your business production monitoring system. It can be any other application which is homegrown, third-party, in-house, anything, right? So basically, you are listening for the events to happen. That event is going to trigger automation framework to really take care of all the post-event activity, and then bot completes the activity based on the defined flow, right? That's how the integration is very well visible now with the platform. Okay, so that was specifically on manufacturing and supply chain with some monitoring. We have done even a work in MRO, your maintenance activities, look at the inventory management and so on. There are a lot of activity which we have done. Let's look at one use case specifically into the logistic industry, and we are looking at shipment tracking. Now, if I look at the legacy process, we actually, let's say I want to track a shipment. I go to a company website, I put my tracking detail, search for location, copy the location, search for location, track current location, and finally download as a PDF. This was a as-is process which we were doing for one of the logistics company. Now, with automation brought into the framework, we actually use API, and also we have demonstrated the UI method, user interface method. It actually goes and pulls the API, pulls the Google API for the map API. It gets a location. It actually searches the location in the map and finally shares the tracking detail with the concerned person. So this is one way of triggering the process manually. So we look at one way of somebody want to trigger a process on demand, that I'm sitting and I receive a request to track specific shipment. This is a form that we can build within the platform. So I said, OK, I want to trigger via API. This is a shipper and this is my tracking detail. So it's a bot that started running in the background now. It is actually pulling the data from the shipper's website. It has identified where the tracking location, and finally it is going to put that information about tracking detail into the Google form, Google Maps, and it will actually capture the actual location of the uh, container or the shipment which is being received, right? And this information is now getting captured by the bot. A bot is going to just represent this information as part of the user dashboard or user form, right? So what you see on the left hand side now, the user has submitted this information. This is a result of what user has submitted, and he also sees where exactly the location of the shipment is, right? Now this way we can actually customize this form. We can create such a views for users and so on, right? These are completely customizable drag and drop form. So you can think about many such scenario into your into your existing day-to-day business function where you want to trigger a process on demand. You want to get certain activity done immediately by the bot, get the results out, and then you can act on the activity. So logistics is what one I have showcased that. Look at the on-demand tracking of the shipments. I've seen this uh, in power industry as well, in thermal coal tracking, where my coal is located now, where my train or the uh, by railroad, where exactly my location of the objects is and so on, right? So we have seen that scenarios in this industry. Let me quickly go through the business function. What we have seen is a industry wide. Now there are a lot of automation which are happening in finance, and I can say that very clearly. Finance and accounting is a most rule based process driven, very rule driven process, I would say. And this is a process. This is an area where I've seen many of the customers have already achieved a lot of success in the finance and accounting. So we're looking at finance operations, treasury operation, tax operation, account payable. A lot of areas have already been automated here. Same with the human resource. Even human resource, we can look at talent acquisition, creating user, onboarding employees, compliance and reporting part. I think this is mainly the common across most of the business function that you work with, right? And finally IT. And IT, we see a lot of heavy lifting happens in IT. A lot of areas that can be automated under IT operations, your IT help desk. If you look at asset tracking, some compliance and reporting, and also data migration. So these are the areas, very high level, the heat map on what is possible under the IT purview. Let's get one more interesting use case, a very simple use case to automate into the IT space, sentiment analysis. So basically you're working with your customers and your customers are sending an email to you. So typically what happens is you receive an email from the customer and you have a standard response to be sent to the customer. Thanks for your email and blah, 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 right? But you don't really take into the consideration the sentiment of the customer, like where they are angry, they're happy and so on. Now here we are just using a simple, I would say the Python code, and what automation in your platform allows is inserting your Python code directly into the framework. So think about the libraries you have built, something like some machine learning model you have built, some Python code that you have built, or JavaScript, VB script you have built. So you can build those code by yourself and then insert them into the bot framework. So these are a few examples of the email, sample emails with different sentiments. Some are very lengthy conversations, some are like short conversations and so on. So we are going to categorize it into 3 areas, and it's a simple Python code with the library that we are using, but we are leveraging combination of scripts plus automation anywhere framework to deliver this outcome. So basically bot is reading email one by one from the inbox. It is performing sentiment analysis on each email. So that's what is happening now one by one. So it is reading through each and every email. And once the emails are read, what you see is the bot has already sent out a structured identified response that if you see here, the sentiment is good based on the score that you've received from the code, and the bot has replied, "That's good. We appreciate your feedback and expect another response from our support soon." So basically now we are sending a very well-defined response or based on the sentiment of the customer, right? If you see the customer is not in the right mood, we can say that, okay, we are sorry to hear that. So just examples I'm throwing, right? So that way you can build such multiple such modules and create your own custom code and insert them into the RPA framework to really attach it to the overall end-to-end process. I thought I will just show you this example because this also resonates very well with many areas. Okay, so that was a very quick example on sentiment. Employee onboarding, I think this is, I'm going to skip this, but employee onboarding, whenever you're onboarding employee, it's a cross-function activity. Your HR is initiating the activity. It is going to the finance team. It is going to the IT team to do the complete onboarding. There are many applications which are involved during this end-to-end process. So this video, although I'm going to skip this in the interest of time, but it talks to Workday, it talks to Salesforce, it talks to ServiceNow, different set of application to really onboard the user into the enterprise system, right? So that way we can do a lot of automation there. Now, what you saw is till now is all the examples that I saw visible or can be deployed in manufacturing, supply chain, different industry vertical. Now, the one thing that we've also built into the platform is how to identify, how to discover the automation opportunity. And that's where we build something like a discovery pod. Now, what's the typical challenge that we have seen across the industry is we spend a lot of time in identifying automation opportunity. We try to sit along with the business user, we go and understand that process flow, and that's where most of the time is spent. Now, possibility, there's a possibility that 80% of them may not get delivered into automation. So really to identify the opportunity, we are spending a lot of time. Now to solve that problem, we brought a discovery bot as a capability where we give a capability to the business user to record their activity, the as is activity that they do. We take that recording, submit into analyst view. The analyst is the one, I would say, the subject matter expert. They will look at the recording from multiple users, they combine it, they see, okay, this is the area I see as a automation opportunity. Now they can take that into the RPA team and then they can automate. So basically a discovery bot really solves a couple of problems. First of all, documenting the business process. You run the recorder, you capture the process as is, and you create a documentation out of it. I've seen customers quoting moving from 2 weeks to 3 days cycle in terms of capturing the process itself. Same thing goes with a bot development. So basically you capture, you analyze, you define the opportunity and you create a bot out of it. So we are looking at two outcomes. One is generating the process PDD, process definition document, and we are also looking at creating the pods out of it. So that's where we are seeing that customers are able to reduce their overall process discovery time. And these are few success stories. We have seen different, like I said, different saving across different customers. 40,000 documents automated by KeyBank. Hitachi has 41% automated. 10 million of saving, total saving that they have seen. Eastman have seen accuracy as 100% outcome from their document processing and then saving as well. So you see different metrics that every customer, every organization is deriving out of it, right? So that's a quick snippet of what is happening, right? So this is all about technology, our customers, and finally we where we stand as Automation Anywhere company. So just a quick snippet of who we are and how we have delivered all the automation. We have 2.6 million digital worker deployed across our 4,200 plus customers. And as you're aware, we are already being rated as a leader in this space. So yes, we are leader across, and you will find in most of the reports that you see from HFS, Gartner, or Forrester, and so on. Now, we have gone through a different technology innovations in last 17 years. So we are in the market for last 17 years. We started as an RPA company long time back. But over the last 4 and 5 years, there have a lot of innovations gone into the platform. Bot Insights, IQBot, Bot Store, and so on. We launched our Automation 360, which is called as earlier used to call as A2019 platform, which is a cloud native architecture, cloud native platform. A lot of new capabilities are delivered on top of it. That's how we have grown really, and that's how our customers are also seeing that growth. And that's where we say we are industry agnostic. We are there across different vertical, whether it's a retail, manufacturing, oil, energy, supply chain, oil, energy, communication, engineering, and so on. There are customers taking advantage of automation in their platform in different industry verticals. Finally, I would like to leave you with one thought, how we have seen customers scaling into their journey. Now, what we see typically customers starts with few processes, see their benefits, they start setting up their initial roadmap for what they want to automate. Now, once they see the initial success, which is typically IT owned, operated by IT as a whoever is a, I would say the initiator of the overall process, then they actually go into the slightly a structured manner. They try to establish their center of excellence team. I think Saibal was talking about they help customer to really drive that COE development, COE adoption across different business collaboration and so on. That's where they get into the COE establishment. Now you are going a more structured approach. And finally, once you automate, once you see a lot of benefits which are coming up, you actually go and scale. Here, what we see now, many of our customers are now going into the citizen developer mode where they are actually inviting business user to participate into the overall automation program, right? So basically, you start small, set your goals, set your structured COE, and finally go into the scale phase, right? That's how we have seen many customers growing into the transformation journey, right? So that's a quick view from my side. Okay, let me hand it over back to Saibal to talk about their credentials into the RPA use case. Saibal, back to you. I will stop presenting from my side. Saibal, you are on mute. Yeah, you're on mute. We are speaking.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek, for sharing your insights and knowledge. And thank you for explaining the benefits of automation, giving all the real life examples. So now I'll quickly take you through some, RPA use cases built around domains like manufacturing, supply chain, and service. So the use cases will show how RPA automates repetitive and rule-based manual business processes and eventually accelerates the digital transformation journey of any organization. And the use case will actually tell you how an RPA bot actually mimics, different human actions, like a mouse click or keystrokes. And after that, it navigates through different, screens of an application, interacts with that particular application like a human being, and finally selects various items from the drop down list and selects radio buttons, and finally submit those selected items to that application for the processing of the data, and complete the entire workflow end to end without any human intervention. Most importantly, the ROI related to investment in any RPA can be justified if the automation eventually impacts the KPIs in terms of savings of cost, minimization of error, enhancement of resource productivity, optimization of flexibility and compliance with related to different stipulations in business, and finally customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and satisfaction of all the stakeholders in the business. So it has been beautifully explained by Abhishek in his presentation and demonstration. So, in fact, this will be our first, use case. In fact, I would like to present this particular use case. It has been implemented in a supply chain domain. So it is all about, automation of creation of an in-transit delay report and tracker. It was implemented in one of the largest furniture assembly and retail organizations in India. The overview of the manual process is like this. So whenever any new furniture would have to be assembled, the materials management department of that organization would be receiving a bill of material. which would be consisting of different items like say spring, cushions, legs, and armrest, etc. So accordingly, the concerned person in the materials management department would have to raise requisition for these items and check their inventory and availability across different warehouses in the country. So being a large organization and having presence all over the country, the volume of the order itself every week was quite high. It was overwhelming, in fact. Therefore, for such huge volume of orders, tracking of the status of shipment of each of the items was a humongous task. It was quite error prone also because it involved 12 different steps. And besides that, this particular process was repetitive and rule based. And the users, would be basically committing a lot of errors, which would be costly mistakes, due to which the order to cash cycle might, would be getting affected. And not only that, eventually, because of the lack of a sophisticated tracking system of the status of shipment of the items, the delivery of the final the assembled product to the clients, was getting delayed for many shipments. So this caused, a lot of dissatisfaction. So that is the reason why the management of this particular organization took a prudent decision to automate the entire workflow of this particular business process. So this is the high level, workflow of the to be process after automation. So it looks like this. The bot actually logs into the ERP system, navigates from warehouse general query section to a query section in the warehouse general report section in the ERP, then prints sales and warehouse order details, and it also selects pending order, zone, source warehouse, destination warehouse, item code, item description, order date, and other details as per the input Excel. In fact, prior to logging into this ERP, it will actually be reading an Excel, which is to be created by the originator or by some of the users of this particular process, so that bot can actually perform as per the inputs in the Excel. Okay. So all these details like item code, item description, order date, order details should be mentioned in that particular Excel file. So initially bot will read that particular Excel file. Once it receives the Excel through some email or through some other means of communication, and after that load that particular file in its program file, which is also known as XAML file. And finally, it submits all the details to the ERP and selects status from plan to stage. Thereafter, ERP will be processing the in-transit delay report and the tracker, and again hands over the control to the bot. So the bot will be downloading this particular incisive report so that the users can take data-driven, decision. So this is how the report actually looks like. Here you can see that the aging report has been compiled and downloaded by the bot. And it has been compiled and processed by the the ERP, and it has been eventually downloaded by the bot. But prior to compilation and processing, bot has actually completed the preceding steps. In fact, like a human being mimicking human action. So here you can see all the aging basically report between related to delay in shipment. Between say 8 and 14 days, 2 and 7 days, more than 15 days. It is also sharing a lot of other information like the source warehouse, destination warehouse zone, which the source warehouse actually belongs to, and the current status of that particular item, besides the item code and item description. Okay, so it shares a lot of actionable insights, this particular report. So what were the value proposition of automation of this scenario? Post automation, the bot actually sends alerts if there is any possibility of in-transit delay of any of the item during shipment. Also sends emails to the concerned warehouse as follow-ups, Therefore, in-transit delay has been minimized to a great extent, leading to optimization of the delivery time. And it goes without saying that the customer satisfaction has also improved quite significantly. Right. So now I'll be basically moving on to another use case, which is item code creation. So this particular use case was actually implemented in our parent company, Godrej and Boyce, for 9 different divisions, which are engaged in basically discrete manufacturing process. So we have already gone through the learning cycle, and we are very much geared up to share our experience and replicate the success story for you for similar discrete manufacturing process, wherein you may have to create, basically item code automatically by using this type of RPA platform. So what were the challenges when this particular process was manual? It was quite a long drawn-out process consisting of 24 steps. 9 users from 9 different divisions used to spend, basically you had to deal with 250 different codes per line every day. So the volume was quite high and the process was repetitive besides being rule-based. Therefore, it qualified for automation. The entire workflow has been automated by Automation Anywhere. The to-be process actually includes all the steps that the users had to perform manually previously. In the to-be process, actually bot takes care of all validations and exceptions which the users had been actually performing manually otherwise. The entire to-be process workflow is actually like this. It is the high-level to-be process workflow. Here you can see that the bot actually reads the business process ID. It receives an email, and after reading that particular email, it finds out the business process ID. Thereafter, it logs into Infor PLM. That is, it's an application which is actually used to create the item code, and it is actually meant for automation of workflows. So we have got excellent, very good expertise in implementation and usage of Infor PLM and Infor ERP, which is also known as Infor LN. So the bot will be actually interacting with Infor PLM as well as Infor LN for creation of item code and mimic all the human actions. Now, finally, bot searches for the BPID. If the BPID is found, in that case, it will proceed to the next steps and complete the entire workflow. And if it is not found, it will trigger an email to the business process originator or to the concerned person, and it will await the next business process ID in the next email. So if the business process ID is found, in that case, actually, it will search for the category and enters the category attribute values. It will also read the project ID and project code and company ID from from the application, and reads the line of business, from the BP details, and finally enters the same in the the application. In fact, so finally you can see how bot is actually completing all the subsequent the following steps and generates the item code. And after that, after generation of the item code, it checks whether the newly generated item code is already existing or not. If it is a duplicate item code, then it will be deleted and the process will be actually terminated after that. But if it is not a duplicate item code, if it is unique, in that case, bot actually transfers that newly generated item code to Infor ERP, which is known as Infor LN in this particular case.
Yes, Cyber, sorry to disturb. We are almost done within our time, so just informing.
Okay. So we are almost done, or what?
Yeah, the time is up. If you want to continue for 2-3 more minutes, you can.
Okay. So in fact, I'll be walking you through another use case, and I'll just take just 2 minutes to complete it. So okay. So just 2 minutes. this particular use case was implemented in our, ready mix concrete manufacturing division, which is also known as, basically, Godrej construction. Here you can see that it's a very long drawn out process, which almost consists of 52 different steps, 9 shared resources from 9 different locations, had to deal with 225 line items to process, the production order to printing invoice process. So this process is all about, automation of production order to printing of invoice. Now, here you can see that the average handling time of this particular process was 11 minutes, whereas the total handling time of this particular process was 95 hours. So it added up to 95 hours, which was quite high. And that's the reason. And apart from that, this particular process was repetitive and rule-based. And being such a lengthy process, it was very much error-prone. So the management of this organization, our management, the management of this particular division, that is ready mix concrete division, took a wise decision to automate the entire workflow by using automation anywhere. And so now you can see that, this is the high level actually to be processed automated workflow. So in this particular case, also the RPA bot actually interacts with, Infor ALN ERP. It logs into the ERP, then checks the sales order status. And if the status is in process, then it actually proceeds to the other steps, or else actually it will stop. And if the process is not in status, but if the process is in status, then actually it checks for a sales order status, then opens a warehouse order session, and thereafter it will be opening the production order session and enters production order input code and basically quantity from the Excel sheet. So prior to logging into this particular application, it will be reading and loading an Excel sheet also. And it will also check if there is any shortage of any child item or not. If there is any shortage of child item, it will proceed in this way. So here you can see that, bot actually is also, picks, deals with the picking list report, enters pickup carrier, trucks and batch ticket number, and also consumes or ingests some information from SCADA. Actually, SCADA systems are installed in each of the sites. And finally, it will confirm the shipment, the shipment, enter sales order, paste shipment number, and it will be generating the invoice automatically. So this is our last use case, in fact, that I wanted to present. In fact, it was the last but one use case. So it was also implemented in our, in Godrej and Boyce, in our parent organization. So it is all about automation of Primavera integration for real-time update and scheduling of project plan. So what is Primavera? Primavera is actually used for planning and scheduling of any project. And Primavera would be getting input from another application. So from that particular application, the user would be actually collecting or fetching inputs like usage of resources and raw material. And after that, entering that information in Primavera. But these two processes were not actually integrated with each other. And that's the reason why they had, users had to do a lot of data entry, in fact. So the process was error prone. And actually, and it was quite a lengthy process, in fact. So now, and eventually what used to happen, and it was an error-prone process, and the process was quite long drawn out. It was very difficult to get the latest status update, and users were not able to basically do real-time planning and real-time scheduling of the projects. And that's the reason why there were a lot of chances of time overrun of the project. So here you can see that bot is actually logging into after automation, of course, by using automation anywhere. The bot logs into Infor and fills out all mandatory input data and downloads the Excel sheet and after that performs a lot of other, operation, and finally it updates, Primavera. So what is the value proposition? Value proposition is excellent. Now the errors have been reduced to a great extent, and the average handling time as well as the average handling cost of the process has also been drastically reduced. And not only that, it was a mundane process and the users were engaged in this type of mundane process day in and day out. So those resources have also been freed up and they have been re-engaged in other LOBs, that is lines of business. Their productivity has also gone up.
Abhishek and Saibal, thank you so much for your time. And I think all the questions are done and we'll get back to them individually.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pooja. And thanks a lot for all the audience for extending beyond our standard schedule time. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Bye.